Hi, this is GAEREA, and you're watching Musicografia. Thank you for having us, and see you in September and October on our current tour with SOR and Galswood.
Barely 6 years have passed since your EP GAEREA was released. Have the band's goal changed much since then?
Well, it all changes, but in the end, it all comes down to let these feelings out, whatever they might be throughout each record. So yeah, I'd say we stay truthful to ourselves, and the main goals, which are to let our souls out in each record, remains the same. So in a very simplistic way, yes, it's everything remains the same as in the beginning. Otherwise it wouldn't make sense to continue for us.
Mirage is the longest work of your career, although Limbo also lists about an hour. What do you want to tell with this new album? How has the creation and recording process been?
This was probably the fastest writing process we had so far. Limbo took us around 3 to 4 months to complete, and it was very inspired by the touring cycle we had with the first album, the Unsettling Whispers album, where all these experiences we had as a band let us grow into a certain state where we could finish the Limbo album and finally go to the studio. But that didn't happen with this new one, as we experienced just 2 tragic years of no touring, and it's finally just coming back now. And but the inspiration for this album just struck us really hard, and it all happened within 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks we wrote all the materials needed to go to the studio. The lyrics, the concept of this album kind of grew very fast, and we took advantage of that, because for us, inspiration is the best thing an artist can have. And we took the bull by the horns and went right to the studio. So I would say from writing it to recording it, it took us around 2 to 3 months to complete everything that you can hear on this album. But yeah, this album is a fair continuation to the Limbo concept in a more introspective way, because Limbo is an album where we find a good solution for the suffering of our characters between death and going postal, I would say. And in the Mirage album, we focus in different individuals throughout each song. So every song is about a certain person that we created, again, very inspired by real people that we met throughout the years. We let ourselves, our main source of inspiration is humans, as you probably have seen it by now. Our love and hate for humankind, the love to hate humankind and to observe them and let our heads turn around it and write about it. So the Mirage album is exactly about that. It's about the perception and the reality we have towards these characters. It's like mad scientists watching these experiments that we put in front of us and let it either die or transcend into something else. And it's also an album very focused on the creation process, and the perception and the reality of it, and how much can you endure, and how much of this world and the situations in this record are real or just a mirage. It's always about that. It's always about your perception, about the art itself. It's always about, it's like picking your favorite artist, and you know why it's your favorite artist, but you will never get closer or actual to the point where this artist created that specific song that makes you call it the song of your life or something like that, because you will never be inside his head. As much as he writes or tells you about it or speaks his soul out about that specific song, I believe that you will never get even closer, and you're just getting these mere reflections of reality. And you will always interpret life, art, politics, whatever, books, based on what country you live in, the social economics you live in. So everything is very different for a certain individual. And that's very interesting and intriguing for us. And it's something that we got very inspired by in this album. And the whole title is about that. What seems to be gold to us probably is rotten on the inside.
Judging by the opportunities in which the member of Musicografía have been able to see you in concert, your live show with great intensity. And in fact, you have said several times that you love being on stage. What is the key to a good live performance according to GAEREA?
Well, a good live performance is a performance where we can feel like one with the audience. We love to feel close to the audience. We love to be able to touch the front row. We love small clubs. Of course, we love festivals and we love the big shows that we have these days. And we have to find our ways to connect physically and emotionally with people that might be 10 meters away from you. But that's the reality of things. It's something that we are building and trying to understand new ways to approach this. But a good performance for us, it's a performance where we can feel close mentally, emotionally, and physically with the audience, where nothing else matters during that hour or 40 minutes of show. It's all about sharing art and sharing emotions and agony with the people that are there with you.
In your lyrics, there is a lot of philosophical settings. For you, what is the philosophy and what role does it play in your way of making black metal?
It's thoughts, you know. We are inspired by a lot of writers, a lot of painters, a lot of film directors, and a lot of other music artists. Art is one, in my opinion. It's not divided in styles. It's everything is about thoughts and brief glimpses of inspiration that you put into your art. For us, it's all about emotion. As I said, sometimes this is the only genre in metal for me that lives 100% out of feeling and out of emotions, because it's such a liberated and free genre where you can. I think it's the only one where there's no boundaries. You can make a fast, very aggressive song, but you can also do a beautiful fucking ballad about letting your soul transcend into something else, and it might be the best fucking black metal song you ever heard. We have examples of that in some of the biggest artists or the smallest one. It's all about emotions. It's all about letting your soul out in the sun and let it rot or transcend. And we do exactly that. That's what we try to do. And it's the flame that keeps us writing music. It's letting our emotions go with every riff, every lyric. It's not about creating these demons. It's not about creating this fantasy world or claiming to the skies something that we read in a book or something. It's about it's actually about us. It's about us as human beings that are far from perfect. We try to live a life, formatted life these days, where perfection stands for having good financial stability, good house, family, kids. But in the end, those are futile things in this world if you're empty in your mind. In my opinion, you could be the richest man alive if you have your own values, your ethics, and if you can be creative to the point of messing around with your soul. And that's what truly keeps us going in this band. Not only me, but the musicians that do this with us. It's all about sacrifice. It's all about letting everything behind for something that you truly believe, and something that helps you transcend every way or every step of the way.
Anonymity can also be linked to the philosophical thought of the individuals. What is the reason for your anonymity?
Because everyone is anonymous in this world. No one truly matters. I don't see it as, in the end, we're just lost ends in this very crowded world, too crowded world, where we're just numbers, we're just social security numbers, where the only certain thing in life is taxes, taxes and death. So it's all about that. We don't want people to go to our show and watch our faces, because I don't think it truly matters for what we're doing here. I want people to focus on their emotions, our emotions, and the music we're playing. And it's also about all the layers that we put in our everyday lives to go through life. The social masks we put to please our friends, our family, our colleagues at work, everything that we need to put to endure life and get that promotion, pick up that whatever. It's I don't think we're truly natural and true to ourselves when we are with other human beings. I think we can only be that way when we're alone. And yeah, these masks stand exactly for that, for the anonymity of the individual when he's not alone.
What does the group's logo means? The logo in your face mask. What role does it play in the concept of the band?
This is the Asmodee symbol, something that really made sense in the first album, and something that we never took away, even though it's something that doesn't define exactly what we're doing today, but it's part of our roots. It's part of the Void of Numbness song in our first EP, and it's something that holds a very powerful meaning to this band as a symbol, as what it represents in the Goethe world. And it's something that will probably never go away, because even though it's something that doesn't make true justice to what we're doing now, it's something that brings us to our roots, something that there are a lot of things in this band that will remain as ours forever, and we will not change it just because we are a different band. We will not change it because it's part of our history. As long as we keep doing this, we will cherish for the first moments we had as a band, the first tours, the first albums, the first moments we lived with the people we care about, because that also inspires us. And we still use it because I don't see the point in changing it.
Can tell us a bit about the idea behind the Void Society, and what exactly does it stand for?
The Void Society is a world, is this experimental world we created for represent the thoughts behind this music. It's something that was born in the Unsettling Whispers album, where we would place ourselves as the third person in this very utopian world where we took away some things in society, for example, the feelings of happiness and sadness. And in our way, it's all about questions. It's all about what if we could take away some of the things that make us vulnerable individuals, and those two feelings might be some of those things that make us so vulnerable amongst each other. And in our perception, in our thoughts, we got to a few conclusions. So it's this never-ending thought process. The Void Society, it's something that we created, we learn from it, we change a few things throughout every record. And for example, if the Unsettling Whispers album, we noticed that death was not an option, because in this world, people can't die. They must live forever with some things that we took away from them. So suffering, apathy, are the key words about that record. For example, in Limbo, we found a way for them to die and to find this catharsis we speak so much about in the previous record. And for example, in Mirage, we found out that some of these individuals would wake up in different scenarios in the same city, in the same world, without knowing that they're not alone, but all of them feel the agony of not being worth death because they're still alive. So we are like mad scientists watching these puppets that we created and trying to understand how this society that we created would work if we would just change the strings a bit. It's all thoughts. It's all, again, it's fiction. It's imagination, but it's all based on the things we live as a band, the individuals we encounter on the road, the people we get to meet. It's always about them. And a lot of these songs throughout this new record, it's about real people that we met. We got inspired by them. And they fit so damn well into this world that we wrote songs about them.
There's are great bands in Portugal, inside and outside of black metal. Candelabrum, Corpus Christi, or Irae, to name a few. How is the scenes in Portugal? Can you recommend us a band from Portugal?
Oh, we can. There's a lot of really fantastic bands. From the Ominous Circle, which is not properly black metal, but more death obscure. Speaking of black metal, it's honestly, it's a genre that doesn't bloom too much like in the 90s in Portugal. There are new bands for sure. But you have, for example, bands like Black Silis, which it's a cult, this very cult band that performs throughout the world. And of course, as you said, Irae, Corpus Christi, we used to have a lot more bands. Some of them are still alive, like Decade, Fili Nigrantum Infernalium. Well, again, Moonspell started to be as a black metal band back in the 90s. So yeah, as I said, the black metal scene isn't that much alive as it was in the 90s, where everything was new and everything was so fresh as it was in the other countries. It's something that kind of faded away, and now you have a lot of old bands that still do it very well, but you don't have a lot of new bands that are willing to take the risk and the sacrifice of doing a genre like this. It's a hard thing to do in this country, because it was never about trends. It was never a genre that exploded here. It's a genre about resilience, about going against everybody and even other genres to make it real. Yeah, you got a lot of other incredible bands in this country, not in only black metal. You got Sinistro, Earth Electric, Analepsy, which we are friends with. It's a brutal death metal band, but a very good sign of resilience and very good sign of hard work. So yeah, this is a very hardworking country in terms of music. Not all bands get the recognition they deserve, but probably committing the risk of sounding bad. Not all bands take the risk. Not all bands work this much.
Yeah. What are your influence, and what do you think of the current black metal essence worldwide? Can you recommend any album or band?
I think we are finally living an era where black metal is rising in different fronts. We have been fortunately enough to tour with some of these bands, and we're talking about Shamash, bands like Winter Filleth, combining all sorts of their roots with this genre. Soar, even Galsverd, we will tour with him in October, and what Gal's doing is absolutely amazing with his voice and with his roots. And of course, the kings of the genre, Vatain, or bands like Shining, that keep it real as probably nobody else does. Again, you would find all different subgenres inside the black metal world that keep the black metal flame alive these days. I think it's something that was kind of lost throughout the beginning of the 2000s, but you have phenomenons like the Icelandic scene, which is absolutely mental. There's so much to explore in today's black metal, because you would have all sorts of different layers and concepts in today's black metal, where you would have bands more focused in individual part of things, of course, very much inspired by Deathspell Omega and bands like that. But you would also find, well, bands like Harakiri for the Sky, which we hold very dear to our hearts. We're very good friends with them. It's still black metal, because for me, black metal is about a feeling, not about exactly corpse paint and blast beats. So yeah, you would get bands like Vatain, Harakiri for the Sky, and Shamash, very different bands, but bands that keep it real all the way, because they're very authentic with what they preach.
We were recently interviewing Andy Marshall from Sour, with whom you will share a European tour with Gal Weird that will pass through Spain. How would you describe the concert to someone who has never seen you, and how does it feel to share the stage with Sour and Gal Weird?
We are very much looking forward to do this with them. We are very good friends with Andy, and we are building a brief but hopefully good relationship with Galsverd. We're all in the same label, which is very good to connect the artists. And I'm sure this will be a fantastic tour for us, the biggest tour we ever did. So we're very looking forward to that. But it's a very different package. Our shows are very minimalistic in terms of props on stage, but we rely, everything about our show is about body language, body explosion, and it's a very emotional set these days. Mostly with this new album, things will get very intense, as they probably already are in our shows. It's not about, for us, it was never about being comfortable on stage. It's about being unsafe and on the verge to get somewhere else in your mind. That's what black metal is about to me on a live performance. It's not about being comfortable, safe. It's about getting into difficult situations on your performance where you give everything you have within and without your soul. Doesn't matter the country, doesn't matter the size of the venue. What really matters is the connection with the audience that I spoke about in the beginning. And we can achieve that with our show. And that's what we will do.
What can we expect from the new album Mirage? How is its difference from your previous work?
Mirage is it's a more, how could I put this? Liberated work where we experiment a lot more with this album. We experiment a lot more with our emotions, but music-wise, you will find new sounds. You will find new sound experiments, a lot more cleaning sections where we let the music flow in a very different way, because it's all about growth for us. It doesn't matter to make another Limbo record. And after Limbo, we noticed that a few things music-wise were left unturned, and we wanted to explore a lot more with that. So people can expect a whole different level of GAEREA, because we just released probably our most aggressive song we ever written, but we are probably on the verge to release the most moody, simple, yet very intense music we probably ever did. So it's a very diverse album with a lot of dynamics, because it's the type of musicians we are today. We have grown as artists, and it doesn't make any sense to do exactly what we did on previous records. So for us, it's about experiment with ourselves, with our instruments, and seeing what GAEREA can be after 2 years of Limbo.